Good afternoon. Today is not November 3rd. It is actually November 6th, and it is a B day. Objective number 7. What is the difference between complete and incomplete metamorphosis? Before we actually even start the lesson, I want to look at the etymology of the word metamorphosis, shall we? Here is the word metamorphosis. It has 3 components. It has a piece in the beginning, a piece in the middle, and a piece at the end. Can somebody tell me what this piece is called? It's called, the actual word is meta, but what does it stand for? It's a, Mr. Gallo. It's a prefix, thank you very much. So the prefix is meta. This piece is the meat of the word. What's the meat of the word called? It's no, just tell me what the actual, what do we call that piece of the word? It is the one, the root, thank you. And then this is the ending, or called the, seriously, who teaches you guys this English? I'm so sad. Suffix, thank you. You need this for your whole future. Your future depends on understanding words. Okay, meta, prefix, it means to do what? It actually means to, anybody want to guess? Here's some words that can help you understand. Metaphor, metabolism, metastasize, meta. These words have the meta in metaphysics. Meta being. Meta means to, what do you think it means, meta? Okay, let's figure out meta. What does meta mean? I love it when you raise your hand. Let me see who's raising their hand. Yes, sir. To change, thank you. Okay, so meta means to change. What does morph mean? A lot of you think morph means to change, but morph is not change. Morph is a, you're close. Morph means to, close. The word morph actually is a form. It's a form or a shape. And this is like a condition or a state. It's the condition of, or the state, meaning like a solid, liquid, gas, the state. So this word itself means to do what? What does metamorphosis mean? Or metamorphosis? It means to do what? Mr. Mallon, what does this word metamorphosis mean? To change? Keep going. There's 3 parts to it. Shape or form. It's a state that the organism is going to change its form. It's going to change how it looks during its development. Completely change. It's going to completely change, or, hint, hint, what's the other word we're looking at today? We're going to either completely change or, I think that's rude. We're going to completely change or what? Or, what's the other word? What is the difference between complete metamorphosis and incomplete? So we're either going to be complete or incomplete. So you have to make an inference. Let's look and do some review before we move forward. We talked about fertilization and development last time. You watched that movie about fertilization. Were you able to even see like the chromosomes pulling apart? And you looked at the chromosomes are not colored in your body. They're just pretty much like, they're not really gray, they're no color. And you get half from your mom, half from your dad, and they split apart, and they will combine and make new chromosomes for your gametes. Well, fertilization has to happen in order for you to even make new gametes. Where does fertilization occur in a bird or a penguin? Is that internal or external fertilization? What do you think, Mr. Hill? External meaning that they're going to lay the egg and then it's going to be fertilized later. Internal, it happens inside the body. So what do you think for a bird? Do you think that the male fertilizes the egg later on, or it does it before she lays it? Before. So this is going to be internal fertilization. But where does the baby develop? Where does the baby develop in a bird? Where does it develop? In a penguin, they hold it in between their legs. So is that inside the body or outside the body? Excuse me, Mr. Coletti. Mr. Coletti is raising his hand and Mr. Gallo is calling out. Okay, Mr. Coletti, tell us what the answer is. External, thank you. External fertilization. That means that it has to have some kind of protection to develop. Yes, we did. No, we didn't. Okay. We had a question a couple days ago about where humans, Homo sapiens, where they do their fertilization and development. Do you remember that question? Where does it happen? Both of them are internal. You watched that little movie, gave you a little bit more insight. Before we continue, I'm going to pause this. Question number 1, which life process results in the formation of a new individual? So, highlighting keywords, I'd like us to highlight in the word new individual. And the answer is what, Ems? I cannot hear Emily. People are talking. Thank you. Reproduction. Check the answers. People once believed that rotten meat produced flies. Today we know flies can only come from which organism, Trayvon? Other flies. Thank you. Cell division. When cells in our bodies divide, they do that for what reason, Jared? Keyword, cell division. Highlight, underline, whatever you need to do to help you remember. Why do cells divide, Mr. Bailey? Yes. The only way you can repair cells is by making new cells to replace the old ones. So that's choice 3. Sexual reproduction. This was a tricky one, but I think I kind of gave the answer away. Anthony, what do you think the answer is? Well, animals can reproduce sexually, and so can plants. So then the answer would have to be what? All organisms want to, because what is sex? Crossing of genes, so they want to. They can reproduce most often. Protists reproduce asexually because it's faster for them, but they do have the ability to reproduce sexually as well. Number 5, one parent. Keyword one parent. Dev. Good job. Sperm cell fertilizes. Keyword fertilize. Fertilize means what? Samantha. Good. Offspring are not identical. Keyword not identical. What's that, Megs? Good. Produces variation. Keyword variation. What's the term for that, Ems? Good. I'm just going to do it in, oh, I can't do it like that. All right, I guess I'm going to do it like this. Clones are produced. Donna Love, what's a clone? Yes, it's asexual because they're identical. Starfish regrows. You're growing something back. Do you require a parent for that? No, you don't. What do you think, Mackenzie? Good. Amoeba splits into 2 separate cells, Vanessa. Good job. Pollen merges with an egg cell. Pollen merges with the egg cell. What do we get for that, Lara? Pollen merges with the egg cell. 2 cells are combining. It's going to be what? Sexual reproduction. Highlight the keywords if you didn't get that one right. Okay, on the bottom. Sporulation. Which one of these pictures is showing us sporulation, sir? Good. Here are the little spores. Excellent. Number 4. Regeneration. Re meaning again. What is that term, Devin? 2. Good job. Vegetative propagation, Dylan. 1 only happens in plants. Good job. What about this picture? What's happening here, Mr. Gallo? Budding. Good. There's one that's missing now. What's the one that's missing? It's actually on the page, but we didn't name it. Number 3. What is that, Mr. Vincent Coletti? What is it called? It is mitosis if it was in skin cells, but if this is an amoeba, it's called, Samantha? Binary fission. But you're correct. When you say mitosis, because what's happening here is simple cell division. In humans, it's mitosis. When it's an actual organism like an amoeba, it's going to be fission. So, Vincent, you were right, because this doesn't say what kind of cell it is. So you wouldn't know, right? Okay. Let's go back to page 6, please, in your notes. Page 6 in your notes, you have a picture of a fly, and you have a flower bug. Get there quickly. Yeah, you got to give that back to the person. I'm sorry. And then pass forward. Maricela, can you collect those? Put the number correct on the top. I'm sorry. I'm trying to go faster. You have to ask her. Number correct on the top. All right, make sure your name's on the top. Pass forward, hustle. All right, we're going to metamorphism. All right, before we get to metamorphism, somebody tell me if they believe they need to study for this test on Thursday. How many people feel like they're going to study, but they feel okay right now? How many people feel like, oh my goodness, I really need to study a lot? Okay, extra help is at 7:15 on Thursday morning. You have to have the yellow notes. It's the last day of the yellow notes. There's no way you don't have them. We'll see how many people are coming. Thursday a.m. Good job. Give Mario Solo. Thank you. All right, are we ready? So, page 6. Go ahead, Giselle. Tell us what the topic of the day is. What is today's topic? Thank you. So I couldn't hear her because there was some rude person in the front talking. Oh. Let me say who it was. Shh. I'm sorry. Giselle, can you say that again? Thank you. Everybody's yellow notes need to be out on their desk. Well, I don't have any more because today's the last day. We don't have any more yellow notes. That means you didn't have yellow notes for the whole entire week? All right, well, write on a separate sheet of paper. All right. Shh. Metamorphism. We actually talked about what each component means. So can somebody give me a description of, we'll put the words together. What does meta mean again? Meta means to do what, Yelenis? Change. Morph is your, what is morph? Your form. So it's changing form. It's a condition, a state where you change form. But it happens in an insect over a series of steps or stages as it develops in its life cycle. So it's how it develops in its life cycle. All insects undergo a process of metamorphism. Some of them undergo metamorphism that is completely different, and some is slightly different. So we're going to talk about the two different types of metamorphism. Can you make an inference before we start which one's complete and which one's incomplete? Look at the pictures. Do you think you know which one is complete and which one is not complete or incomplete? Look at the pictures. Examine each picture. I can label them better for you because the words underneath the graphics are a little pixely. So this is an adult. These things are eggs. And this is what we call a nymph. On this side, the fly is the adult, the eggs. But now when we come here, we come to a larva. And this picture shows a pupa. So one of these organisms, this is a fly. And this is what we call a flower bug. Or if you want me to be gross, it's a cockroach. Flower bug, that's like the nice name to call it. Okay, so which one of these shows complete metamorphism and which one shows incomplete? Ems. Which one's complete? The fly is complete. It's completely changed its shape. Metamorphism. Morph is form or shape. Meta is change. Which one completely changed? She says the fly. How many people agree with her? Yeah, we see lots of different stages. So obviously the flower bug cockroach is going to be what? The other one is what, Vin? Incomplete. Good job. And for some reason the graphic doesn't work, so I have to write it. Incomplete. And why is this one incomplete? What makes it incomplete? So let us look at what it says to do. Compare and contrast the two life cycles. What makes it incomplete? What is different? So compare means to show me things that are the same, and contrast means show me things that are different. So you decide. What would you like to tell me about these two? You can give me a comparison or a difference. You can give me a comparison or a contrast. Look at the pictures. Trayvon, give me one thing that you would like to tell me about the pictures. You want to tell me something that's the same or something that's different? Yeah, this has an adult fly. Does this have an adult? Yes, they both have adults. Good job. They both have adults. What else? That's one thing you're right. They both have adults. Anthony, give me something else. Excellent. There are more stages in the other. The fly has more stages than the flower bug. Go ahead, Alex. Exactly. Who doesn't have the larva? The cockroach doesn't have the larva. Because the cockroach has a nymph and the fly has a larva. Is there anything else that's different or the same? There's a whole bunch more. There's at least 3. Good. Flower bug has no pupa. The fly has a pupa, but the cockroach does not. Oh, I wrote roach over here. And there's 2 more that are the same. They both have adults. They both have what? They've undergone sexual reproduction. How do I know that? Because they laid what? Eggs. They both have eggs. Oh, sorry. And they both underwent metamorphism. So both organisms lay eggs. They do go through a change. The nymph is a nymph because it has no wings. It doesn't grow its wings until it becomes an adult. So there is a change. It's not that much of a change, but it's a slight change. All right, on the bottom with your partner, 7 minutes left. You're going to do some, in a perfect world, we would have had Chromebooks, but we don't have the ability to get them today. So what I did was I printed up the life cycle of the praying mantis, the life cycle of the ladybug, the life cycle of a mosquito, a life cycle of a grasshopper, and a butterfly. You have to decide with your partner. You could do a different one if you don't want to do the same one as your partner. But you have to compare and contrast your new organism with one of these. Or you can use the one computer I have over here or the one computer I have back there to research your own insect. If you want to do a different insect, want to see how it undergoes the life processes of metamorphism, the life cycle rather, you can do that as well. So